The June 2nd, 2021 meeting of the Yarmouth Planning Board is about to convene. As a precautionary measure to reduce the spread of the coronavirus, this meeting will be held by remote participation. My name is Kathy Williams, and I'm the Yarmouth Town Planner and will be serving as moderator for this virtual meeting. I'll now turn it over to the Planning Board Chair.
Welcome to the June 2nd, 2021 Yarmouth Planning Board meeting. My name is Joanne Crowley, and I am Chair of the Yarmouth Planning Board. I'll begin by taking a roll call for quorum. Brad Goodwin.
Present.
Liz Hartsgrove.
Present.
Susan Britta.
Present.
Tom Barron.
Present.
Will Rubenstein.
Present.
Chris Vincent. Joanne Crowley present. With a quorum present, I'll now call the meeting to order and ask Kathy to explain how remote participation will work this evening. Kathy?
Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, this planning board meeting will be conducted via remote participation. Persons who would like to view this meeting while in progress may do so by watching via this virtual meeting or the live feed on the Town of Yarmouth YouTube channel. For all meetings, all audience participants enter the virtual meeting muted and will be unmuted when called upon to speak by the chair or moderator. If you're not speaking, please mute yourself. Do not use speakerphone or Bluetooth devices, and all votes must be roll call votes. For applicants and presenters, we have one this evening, Robert Ciavara, and he's already here and present and promoted, so I won't go over those details. Public comment, none of the items on the agenda this evening are public hearings that require a designated public comment period. However, public comment can be taken at the discretion of the chair. Members of the public may request to speak by selecting the raise hand button or pressing *9 on their phone and waiting for the chair to call on them to speak. Members of the public recognized by the chair are asked to identify themselves by first and last name and affiliation for the public record and then provide their comment. Just like to note that there are two members of the public in attendance in the meeting this evening. I will now hand the meeting back over to the chair.
Thank you, Kathy. As usual, I'd like to thank the public who are joining us tonight or maybe viewing this meeting at a later date. We appreciate your attention. This evening, we have three primary areas to discuss. The first on our agenda is regarding the Great Island Plaza redevelopment and the request for a letter of support. Joining us this evening is Robert Ciavara, of the Cape Cod Commercial Real Estate Group, who is representing the owner of this property, RK Realty Trust. The property address is 590-602 Route 28, South Yarmouth. Robert is seeking the support of the Yarmouth Planning Board for their application for a fiscal year 22 underutilized properties program grant administered by the Commonwealth's Department of Mass Development. The purpose of this grant program is to provide funding that will improve, rehabilitate, or redevelop blighted, abandoned, vacant, or underutilized properties. Welcome, Robert. It's nice to see you again. I'm going to turn the meeting over to you and Kathy to walk us through and give us a reminder about the Great Island Plaza redevelopment project. And in your packages, each of you have the draft letter that we would like to discuss tonight in support of this project. So I'll turn it back to you, Kathy and Robert. Welcome again.
Robert, if you'd like, I can pull up some of the pictures so we can kind of remind the planning board what we're talking about.
Good, that'd be great.
This is the existing conditions plan and what it looks like today. But I can go down and kind of show the proposed site layout. I don't know if you wanted to give a brief overview, Robert, and I'll kind of move along as you talk.
Yeah, we're just talking about the first 8 units. So post office stays, obviously. So it's this first section. Thank you, Kathy, is what we're going for some state funds for. It'll address none of the other sites, none of the background, just that first strip of existing property. Because it's only an existing property remodel fund.
So this section of the building is deteriorated to the point where it would need to be taken down altogether. So
We
this
have
is
argued
new
that.
construction.
Yeah, we've argued that, and they look like they will. That is included in the deal.
Oh,
They
excellent.
can fund into that. We argued that it's obviously, even though it has to be a tear down, it's still basically a remodel. It's the same footprint. I think they're going to allow us to add all of basically all of units 1 through 8.
Excellent.
Yep.
It's just kind of showing you all of the extensive landscaping that's happening in the front here. They also eliminated a curb cut here that's right on the corner that was very dangerous, and also having significant parking in the rear. And just to give you an idea, this is some of the view of the renderings that was done. I don't know if you want to talk.
Well, I'm hoping that if we can get phase 1 funded with a little bit of state assistance, then it'll open up the rest of the plaza for further development. We have several convenience stores interested in rent opening, but I'm in front of the Board of Health asking them for a cigarette license that was there previously, and then the town put a cap on cigarette license and it disappeared. And that the fact that we couldn't give them a cigarette license made all the convenience stores disappear.
We were there.
But I'm encouraged because there was one. They're definitely considering returning one to the 7-Eleven and returning one to Great Island Plaza for economic development purposes, basically. Do you have more of that, Kathy, or do you want me to keep talking? Okay.
I just had the elevations that kind of show.
So I talked to Hire earlier, and earlier our time that's 11 o'clock her time, PM. But she wants to know how much she appreciates the support she got so far, especially from everybody in the town. The town administrator wrote a support letter, the economic development wrote a support letter, Chamber of Commerce wrote a support letter, and we're asking the planning board to do so also. I just want to assure you as much as possible, we are trying everything we can think of, every angle to develop this site and to get some funds on it. COVID obviously was a big problem for retail, especially restaurants and office space. I mean, that just took everybody that we had. I probably had 70% of the property under letter of intent before COVID. And then almost everybody said no, and including Rockland Bank, that's been awesome. I think they lost a little encouragement when COVID started to slow things down. So again, Hire wants to thank everybody and assure you that we're trying everything. And we do have 3 other support letters already. I think almost nobody would argue that doing something at this site would be nice. COVID and prevailing wage is now a new problem. It's raised the materials cost as difficult as it was before because market rents drive everything from the top down. This is what you can get for rent. So this is how much construction you can spend. And this is how much the money the banks would lend you. That does the equation. COVID, because of now sheetrock and materials, wood, has driven the price up. I would say almost $1 million from where we were last year. And we haven't quite tackled the prevailing wage part of it. So we have to ask the state for somewhere around $1.5 million almost to bring it back to where we were, which they do have $8 million. So the encouraging part about this is not very many people from the Cape have submitted a request at all. I've been in touch with Kip Diggs, and I think my understanding, he has attended meetings, and he was at the economic development meeting, and he is trying to help ensure that the funds get on this side of the bridge. Because if there aren't that many applications, they really wanted to do as many as 10 with the $8 million. And but if there's not that many on the Cape, maybe we can get a larger chunk of that $8 million. That's the plan.
So
Okay, thank you, Robert. Anything else, Kathy, that you wanted to?
I was just going to note the draft in the
Yes.
packet. That's all.
Thank you for putting that up. So this is the draft that we have in our packets, and I'll open it to any questions or comments of Robert first, and then any comments in particular on the draft memorandum. So any questions for Robert? Susan?
Robert, could you just, you said you had 3 support letters. Could you just go over again where they're from?
Well, the town administrator, that was
Okay.
required. The
That was
Economic Development Board. And the third one was the Yarmouth Chamber of Commerce I went to.
Okay. And you said at one point you had 70% of the space under at least letter of intent?
Yeah, that's, we go to letter of intents first, because they're non-binding and they don't cause lawyers and all the stress associated with it.
So how
Then we go-
many, how much of it is now under letter of intent? Is it still 70%?
No, none.
Is that why you
I have interested parties, but I do not have a single executed letter of intent right now. Oh, actually, I do have for building 606, but we're not talking about 606. So for the plaza, the whole total project, yeah, I have one, but not for this strip. This out of this 8 units, I don't have any letter of intent.
Is that why you're having difficulty getting traditional funding?
No, well, COVID, I think, was the problem with the traditional funding. Confidence. I mean, the great thing about this site is there are a lot of small spaces that lend to ma and pa shops. People able to give them self-employment. You know, there's no Starbucks on the site. So we thought this was very encouraging for the type of people we want to grow in that area, you know, self-employment, self-jobs. So we had a lot of not hugely financeable names on our list. So the project has to have a strength by itself, because unfortunately, if you think of the ma and pa's that actually keep this place alive and everybody working and functioning, they don't have the credit scores and things like that that banks get impressed by. So even though I had 7 at the time period, when we went to go one more step, we started losing people. And it just made sense at the time period. It was also a timing issue. Everything, if we don't start by August, we'll never get it done by May. You know what I mean? So once you miss that time period, you kind of say, we got to try to hit that race next year, so to speak. Because I can't turn over keys on Route 28 in Yarmouth in December. You know what I mean? There's not a tenant in the world that wants to start December, unless they're selling fur coats or something. I don't know. But certainly bathing suits don't sell in December. And yeah, so that's why once you miss that cutoff date. So again, we're in a big push right now to try to get this agreed to, accomplished, permitting, everything in place between now and August. And if we miss that deadline again, it may be next year.
Yeah. How many jobs do you anticipate being created?
Well, it's about 11,000 square feet. So it's a good size. I mean, I can imagine 4 or 5 people at least in every single business. I mean, I would think, 30, 40, 50 people will get jobs out of this. And like I said, even more importantly, almost everybody I talked to was somebody that was investing themselves. A barber shop that wanted to open up all by himself. A restaurant that wanted to open up all by himself. Convenience store was not a brand name. I had a clothing store. I mean, these people I'm still going to go back to because they didn't do anything last year. You know what I mean? It's not like they rented space and said, sorry, I'm not interested. They mothballed their own decisions for an entire year so we could figure out what happened. So they're still out there. And I send constantly letters of update, where we are today, how things are going. Our big stuff right now is getting state money, and then 2, getting a Board of Health certificate, a cigarette license. I don't smoke, but I understand math. And if they think they need the math in order to make the money, I can't tell them, you guys are wrong, you should rent anyways. It doesn't work that way. My job is to provide what they think their needs are. And if their needs are a cigarette license, then that's what I'm trying to do.
So that would be a convenience store?
Yep. First one would be convenience store. We've got convenience store, restaurants, retail, service we'll look at, real estate, that type of stuff. We want to make it a good mix. We have an apartment in there. As you know, we're probably going to come back and either ask or talk about 2 apartments on 606 at some point, because the second floor of that, and we all know there's a huge housing need. As a matter of fact, my the Mansfield, the Franklin fire that was 3 Mondays ago, my daughter was home, was in that. So she lost everything in a fire. My daughter is officially homeless. One dog, one car, one phone. Nothing else survived.
So this revised plan has to come back through all the channels in the town, correct?
I don't know, only if we wanted to do a change. At this point, I think we're fully approved with the exception of Mark, which is just which is more the
Right. Well,
architectural, right? There's no decision there. It's more, does it meet code or does it not meet code? I think that's
all
more.
right, so the issue of housing, I would consider that a change, correct?
Yeah, but I was thinking, again, I was talking about 606 on that, or even building 7, which right now we're just showing as a blank floor,
Right,
office mixed use as a description.
right.
But assuming, and we want to do what's right. And if, I think housing's right. I think housing above retail is a great idea. I'm sorry. It's just, there's a huge, huge need. I can't find a place for my daughter, so I really am living this.
Right. Just so I understand the process, if in your application, did you say you were going to put housing on the site, or is it a possibility? How did you word that?
We used it as, we call it mixed use. So it'll be a mixed use of retail.
So you do anticipate coming back and asking for permission to do housing?
Well, no, we have a housing on the first one. 1 through 8 has 1 housing unit. So it's already there. How can we get additional housing is another question. But right now, there is 1 housing unit in the complex. That's the way I understand it. I mean, unless I'm mistaken.
Okay, and then your application talked about, or at least your talking points here, talk about a courtyard.
Oh yeah, in the back, little gazebo maybe or something, walking paths. We're all over all those ideas, places to park bikes. We want to have it for, nonprofits to use it at times, that type of thing. We've got the whole plan with the lighting out front during the holidays,
Right.
music coming out of the box, free Wi-Fi, maybe a charging station if I can pull it off for an electric car or two.
Mhm.
I mean, we really want this to be the West Yarmouth hangout spot as much as possible.
Any other questions?
Yes,
Yes, Tom?
yeah, Robert, from the mass development paperwork, your deadline for applications is June 4th, 2 days from now. So you're trying to get all of this done before?
No, I'm done. I'm just filling in the gaps. I am 100% complete on the application. Tomorrow morning, I meet with Haya at 8:00 a.m. and Jan, who's doing the, he's our chosen contractor, but I'm not sure he'll be the actual contractor in the end, but right now he's the one we've chosen, especially since things have changed a little bit with prevailing wage and state. But myself, Jan, and Haya are meeting tomorrow morning, 8:00 a.m. our time. We plan on pushing through this application and getting it in tomorrow. We'd obviously like to have your letter included, but that application's going in, as far as I can tell, tomorrow, with or without anything, because we're not going to miss a deadline. And again, the person I'm working with on the state has been very great. She says, not very many people have come in from the Cape. So if we can get in there, I really would like to think that we can get some funds out of this.
I think we've all been looking at and wishing for a change at Great Island for many, many years now. And I really want to encourage you with the plan that you've presented. I think it's innovative. I think it suits the site very nicely. But I did have one additional question. The lot behind is also listed as a Great Island Plaza property. Is that at all part of the ownership that you're dealing with?
The total development, Kathy, if I make a mistake, let me know, but the total development is 4 different parcels. We'd like to tie them all together. 606 next to the post office. I've got someone for the first floor there, already a letter of intent for the entire first floor, 2,000 square feet, an excellent service place. Can't talk about it yet, but dying to say something about it. Second floor, like I said, I mean, I think apartments make great sense. If there's a need, if you guys think the need's not the argument. Then you have the post office. Building 7, we were thinking of some type of maybe service people because it faces the post office. Second floor again, allowing maybe for 2 more apartments. The rest of the property, straight retail. Behind that, we've shown some plans for more retail, more mixed use. And then there's still even a spot farther back, almost on the where Winslow, where the property ends.
Yeah,
I think they've had some talk about
yeah, the
maybe
property,
more housing or something, maybe. That part's not really talked about.
yeah, Robert, the lot that I'm talking about is 18 Winslow Gray. It's the vacant lot behind. That was basically was my question. Are you including that in your future plans for?
Oh, yes.
For housing or other?
We are hoping that if we can get through this phase 1 and get ourselves some cash flowing businesses on the property, that it will spill into other phases throughout.
Okay, well, in sort of a left-hand question here. Why didn't you include that extra lot in your thinking or in the planning?
There's a complication on the site between, there's a legal case that's hanging. I guess that's the best I can say. There's a legal case.
Okay, all right, well.
That's why I'm just saying it was cut out because it would have hurt the conversation, not helped it. I think the state or somebody else would bail maybe based on that. So we cut it out, not because we wanted to.
If you get your funding and phase 1 starts, you may be in a better position to look at those issues on that last lot.
Without a doubt.
Okay, that's a lot. That's a lot more understandable at this point.
And we scaled it back also for banking. You go in looking for $5 or $6 million. They look at you a lot different than when you're looking for 2.
Understood.
Especially during this economy. You know what I mean? The smaller your number, the more likely, a good cooperative bank like Rockland will be a partner. And that's really, they're a partner.
Very good. That's all I have.
Brad, sorry.
That's all right. Thank you, sir, for your time, and I'm sorry for your daughter's loss on the fire. I hope her life rebounds quickly. The quick point is I'm going to make a motion to move this along and get the letter in your hand, simply because you're only dealing with the front project right on Route 28. We're not dealing with anything else. Number 2, it's been an eyesore for all the years that I've been in town, and I'd like to see something done on that, if not just raise and replace and knock it all down, but that's not going to come to it. It's easier to keep the grandfathering where it is. I recommend you reach out to Tim Wayland, who's another representative for the town. Granted, this property is not under his bailiwick because it's carved up by Parker's River, but Tim has got more status at the State House than the newbie, Kip Diggs.
Mm-hmm.
So I would lean on Tim Whalen if you need another voice, because obviously this is bringing tax dollars to his town as well.
Exactly.
Besides, he's taller and he stands out in the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
But I would make a motion to at least forward this with a letter from the planning board. There's no harm. It's got very little to do with planning. We've already done our job. Town meeting has given its approval in 2019 or 2018. I'm sorry. I just got back from Providence, so my mind's a little fuzzy, but we extended the zoning to make this a win-win, because the people in Yarmouth are also looking to clean this lot up. So if an extra letter signed by the amazing Joanne Crowley is going to help this process along, I say let's go for it, guys.
Second.
There we go.
We all second it.
Any further discussion? We'll take a roll call vote. Brad Goodwin,
Approve.
Tom Barron,
Aye.
Will Rubenstein,
Aye.
Susan Britta,
No,
Liz Hartsgrove,
Aye.
Joanne Crowley, yes. Thank you, Robert. We appreciate
Thank you
your
all
time.
very much. And again, our most important thing that we want to promote is that we are trying very hard to develop this site. This ownership has only been there since 2019.
That's wrong.
Before that, it was somebody else that was in control. Susan, I don't know why you're nodding, you're shaking your head, but
She's been.
that's the fact. She only owned it since 2019.
You
She's
got
in,
your vote. Robert, you got your vote. Quit while you're ahead.
I'm not worried, but thank you very much.
So I'll finalize the letter. I'm assuming exactly as drafted in your packets. Take up the draft and forward it to Robert for his application.
Okay. The second item on our agenda this evening is with regard to the Cape Cod Commission Development of Regional Impact Review. Included in your packet is a draft comment letter to the commission on the DRI application by Blue Sky Towers for a 120-foot monopole wireless communication tower and ground equipment to be located at 1044 Route 28, Assessor Map 50, Parcel 189.1, on the grounds of Our Lady of the Highway Church, currently owned by the Archdiocese of New Bedford. Kathy has, again, she's provided a letter for my signature, as well as just this afternoon, shared with us additional letters that had come through that have already been sent, I believe, Kath. Maybe you want to talk about those three pieces of correspondence that you forwarded us today, and then walk us through your thoughts on the letter. I think from my perspective, you captured most of the thoughts we had last week, at our last meeting rather. So why don't you just brief us quickly on the three that you just sent
Sure.
us?
Sure. Julie McAvee, who's the chair of the Yarmouth Historical Commission, wrote a letter. Even though the tower is not within the Bass River Historic District, it is visible from that district, and they have concerns about the impacts to the viewshed and potential degradation of the integrity of the district. So that is a letter that they sent in. I sent in a general Yarmouth permitting requirement process letter, which is something that the commission typically requests. They want to know what would they need to go through for local permitting. Very bland stuff, nothing too exciting. And then I did provide my own comment letter with regard to the DRI application that went through some of the comments that were made in the application that I felt needed to have a counterpoint to them, specifically as they relate to the technical bulletin, which is the guidelines for DRI review of wireless communication towers. A lot of my comments are somewhat similar to those that were identified by the board at our last meeting, and are more in many ways flushed out in the draft letter coming from the planning board. The staff at the Cape Cod Commission will be preparing their draft report. Once I get that, I can forward that to you, and at that time they will include a review by their wireless consultant, who will talk about things about the need for this facility here, what are maybe some of the other options and that type of thing. So that will provide a little bit of technical expertise that I will relay to you guys. So the draft letter here, I don't know if you want me to pull it up or.
Everyone's got it in front of them, I presume.
I don't.
You don't, Susan?
No.
Okay, Kath, can you maybe put it up?
Yep. Hang on one second. The beginning part is similar to the letter, the draft letter that was reviewed by you guys at the last meeting, talking about our zoning and how we've worked so hard to beautify Route 28, how we're working on our wastewater, how even during our visioning process, improving the aesthetics of Route 28 was certainly commented on quite frequently. And then it gets into the specific comments that I think you guys were talking about at the last meeting. And I think some of this language is stronger than the original draft, and I believe that's what you guys wanted to represent. But it does note that that is basically the 120-foot tower is currently designed with exposed antennas, and the visibility from public ways undermines our community vision and is not suited for this location. As presented, the planning board finds this proposal and its location entirely unacceptable. And then it goes into more detail with regard to talking about the photo simulations. At the last meeting, you guys really felt there was a lack of transparency on the part of the applicant. That's been included. And also the request for having the different visibility from the public ways being included in the photo simulation. Then it talks about, I think the comments from last time had to do with that, even though there are some wooded areas to the north and to the west, they're not particularly dense or tall enough to hide visibility of the tower, and especially from Route 28, where they will be removing that dense vegetation. So, moving down. Ooh.
So everyone can see this now. Any comments on this, Tom?
No, not on the letter. The letter is fine. But I had a chance to go back into the presentation of the material, and I think that the question that was raised last meeting, did they actually look for other sites, other potential sites for a location? And I think their comment was very, very weak in that regard. And just looking at the assessor's map for the general area, on the other side of Forest Road, beyond the Dunkin' Donuts, and actually it's a big lot behind the shopping plaza, owned by Cedc, that would have been a potential candidate for citing this, because of the shall we say, the ugly nature of the arrays they're going to have at the top of the tower, at the top of that pole. It would be better to be behind the commercial area rather than in the lot with where the church is. That's just my opinion, having just taken a very cursory look at the potential other than the church lot. And the Tedeschi lot would right now is a sort of a almost a construction laydown yard, partially covered with trees and growth, and so it's not a very first of all, it's not a visible lot even from the shopping plaza, or even access through the back end of the shopping plaza. So in other words, in my opinion, did they make a real concerted effort to find an alternative site? And I think their comments within their own presentation was very, very weak. And it did not give an indication that they had made a lot of effort. I'm not saying that we should deny the item at all, but perhaps make a suggestion that they could have been a little bit more diligent in looking for something else. I know you don't agree, Brad, but anyway, that's my opinion.
Well, I appreciate that, Tom. I would like to try to keep to the matter at hand, which is the letter. Kathy does incorporate some important comments with regard to location. I appreciate your interest in finding and looking at and being aware of potential sites that they may not have looked at. However, in my view, that's part of their job. So as Bill Belichick would say, go do your job. And we'll wait to see what they get for us. Kathy, did you want to say something?
I just want to say that obviously the commission's also going to be doing their due diligence. I got a contract where they hired and the applicant had to pay for a separate wireless analyst in order to look at exactly all of that time. So they're not just believing what the applicant's putting in. And obviously it's not just coverage, it's the height, and there's a lot of things that go into all of that. So they are going to be reviewing that and providing a report to the commission. I hope I can send that to you guys tomorrow.
Okay.
One point, Kathy, about the Tedeschi lot. You talk about the height of the 120 foot. The Tedeschi lot is actually higher, maybe by as much as 5 feet than the church site. So there are, you know, just issues that that could have been looked at differently.
Thank you, Tom. And yes, Brad.
I've got no problem with Kathy's letter except the word location. If we could strike that, that would be fine. If they built the cell tower that was 32 feet tall, I don't think we'd have a problem with the location. We're having a problem with the location because of the height. So if we could take out the word location in one of those final paragraphs where Kathy says we find the location, the height unacceptable, I think we should take out the word location. We don't have a problem with the location. We have a provocation with the way it looks and or its height. Again, if this was 64 feet or the height of a water park on the Bass River Sports World property, or 80 feet, which is the height of the golf simulator knockdown fence, which is an allowed zoning use on that site, we'd have no problem with the 80 feet. It's the what it looks like and the size at that location. So let's take out the word location and then go for the letter.
I'm unclear on what's being proposed because the paragraph in question is the board questioning the lack of any other location or locations for cell towers that would help to address the gap in coverage, noting that the 70-foot concealed monopole cell tower across the street at 1045 Route 28 has 2 open slots. Other operators use a variety of wireless infrastructure to meet their coverage needs while being less visually intrusive. So I'm not clear on what you would like to take out.
If you put the letter back up, I'm sorry. I clicked off of my to go back to the camera. I have a laptop I'm working off of. I apologize, Madam Chairman. As present, okay, there we go. Where is it? There we go.
I'm getting there.
I'm sorry.
There you go.
As presented,
Right
I think it's
right on the top paragraph, Brad.
right. So it's the one that it's as presented. It starts from there. If you want to scan down a little bit further, I think it's
Which paragraph, Brad? Was it?
Is that the whole letter?
Nope. That's the second page.
As presented, there we go. As presented, the planning board finds this proposal and its location entirely unacceptable.
Okay.
It says, although we appreciate and understand the need for reliable wireless coverage, it cannot be done at the expense of the progress Yarmouth has made to improve Route 28. Yada, yada, yada. As presented to the planning board, therefore finds this proposal unacceptable. I would like to just strike at its location, because I don't think the location's a problem. It's further away from the neighborhood because people do have a fall zone. Towers don't fall over like a tree falling. They fall down upon themselves, but still you want to keep it a little bit away from the neighborhood. And God forbid if a cell tower fell down at this location, there's a lot of parking lots around it. And I think that'd be better, but I don't have a problem with location, but I do, echoing everybody here on the board, I have a problem with the way it looks and I guess it's size, but the location's okay.
Any other comments on location? Yes, Susan.
I like the sentence, but I would just change it to say, as presented, the planning board finds the proposal in its current location entirely unacceptable.
Its current location is fine. It's the size we find a problem.
That's what I'm saying, the proposal in its current location.
If I may, I think the proposal is what it looks like and its location. It is both things. We are opposed to the proposal.
Which
It's
contains.
both things. It's the way, it's whatever they presented to us, the thing, what it looks like, how big it is, two options, and where it happens to be located. That to me is a definition of their project. And we are commenting on that project. So by eliminating that word and location, I don't have a problem with that at all, Brad, because it's redundant. It's redundant. The proposal is defined by what it looks like and where it is located. So I
I'll
think
be
we
happy
could
with that.
strike the word location there, Kathy, in that one sentence. Everybody okay with that, Susan? Does that,
No, I'm not, but I'll get outvoted. Go ahead.
well, what would you,
Go ahead, Joanne. You got your point across. That's fine.
it's meant to be collegial and it's meant to, so if you have an issue.
But I would clarify, the proposal includes location and the tower. The proposal including, I would define proposal, because
I see what you're saying.
a lot of people will not define proposal as location and tower. So I think if the board, if your definition, which I think is accurate, the proposal is the location and the actual tower,
Yeah.
and I would say that. Make sure that people understand we are interpreting the proposal to include not only the tower, but the location of the tower.
Right, and again, the communication here is from us to the Cape Cod Commission,
Mhm.
who I would hope are some of the smartest people in the world when it comes to this type of discussion, and will understand that when we say the proposal, we mean what would the whole thing that was submitted to us, everything about it as presented to us is unacceptable. The way it looks, where it's located, Kathy mentions their plans for camouflaging, unacceptable, doesn't work. 6 feet evergreens are not going to do the job. So every aspect of the proposal, I think we've come to the conclusion, the proposal, and this is the most important sentence in this memo, the proposal is simply entirely unacceptable as presented. And it includes all those things, what it looks like, its location, their landscaping efforts, the whole 9 yards. So I don't think I think it will be clear. I think I disagree with you on that. I think it will be clear. And again, it's kind of a technical communication to the commission. So with that, let's make a move here on the memo. Any other comments on the memorandum, the letter? Actually, this is a letter. So we will strike the word location and just simply use proposal. Is that okay with everybody?
I move that, please.
Any other editorial or content concerns with the letter? Okay, I'm sorry. There was a motion on the floor. Liz, I apologize.
Oh, there must be a second then from me, Madam Chair.
Okay, any further discussion? We'll take a roll call vote on the draft letter as amended. Brad?
Agreed.
Tom Barron?
Aye.
Will Rubenstein?
Aye.
Susan Britta?
Then I'll abstain.
Joanne Crowley, yes. Liz Hartsgrove? You're
Aye.
muted. Okay,
Aye.
thank you. Okay. Next. A quick update on where we are with visioning. As you know, I presented on May 25th to the Board of Selectmen a proposal that Kathy and I had put together. I sent it, Kathy sent it to all of you. I'm not sure how many of you were able to join us. Wasn't really necessary. I think we did a good job. Kathy in particular was able to fend off some questions with some pretty savvy answers. So I was
The
very
facts.
pleased. with that one. It
Mhm.
was very good. And the Board of Selectmen is completely behind it. They Mark Forrest made a point of saying that visioning is their thing, and not necessarily just like that, but they are in support and are going to be active, enthusiastic partners with us as we go forward. So Kathy's going to just run through a couple of next steps and outreach with us, so we're all up to date going forward. Kath?
We've updated the website, so the visioning survey's on there, and also the link to our presentation that we're going to be giving at 4:30 on June 16th. Kyle's working on the constant contact and news item and social media. I've drafted a press release that's going to go out tomorrow. I also need to work up some flyers that I'm going to be looking for some help from you guys to distribute around town. Now that all these various places are open, we'll also have hard copies of the surveys at the library, the senior center, and here at town hall. I'm going to work up those notifications to all the different organizations, the schools, the staff, the chamber that we did during the original first survey. Also a notification on the Chapter 18 bulletin. We'll get something on the community information board, and hopefully I can also get something on the little sandwich board at the transfer station that will help people know about the second visioning survey. So we've got a bunch of publicity that we need to start getting out, or have started to get out, and we'll get out additionally. I'd also like to work out, if I can, some library bookmarks that have the visioning thing in there, so maybe they can, leave those at the library and people can take them and use them for bookmarks, and hopefully take the visioning survey. So just the things that are coming up. I've updated the implementation schedule a little bit. If you want to see that, Joanne. There we go. So we've actually got a lot of green, which is good. Green means we did it. And blue is and red means we still got to do it. So I really think that we've come a long way, and we've had a lot of a good input from people. And I think we need to continue to push forward to get people to participate in the second survey and kind of see if we can't at least double our numbers. That would be fantastic. But we'll have to wait and see how much interest we have post-COVID, when people might be more interested in doing things outside. That's kind of the latest and the greatest.
Okay, thank you, Kathy. A suggestion, the postcard outreach, is that something that we could leave at the chamber as well?
Oh, yeah, yes, yeah, the
Because
chamber we can do, yep.
we might get some tourists.
Yep.
To take the survey,
Sure.
which might be good.
Yeah, I think if we can put the flyers at those locations as well, that would be good.
Okay,
Yep.
Great. Okay. Any other questions? Or just a reminder, our next meeting is starting a little bit early at 4:30. And it will be dedicated to visioning. I don't think we have anything else on the calendar that day, Kath, as of right now.
As of right now, nothing.
Yeah, as of right now. Okay, great. Moving along, may I have a motion to accept the minutes of our May 19th meeting?
So moved.
Do we have a second somewhere?
I think Brad did.
Okay, thank you, Brad.
I'm sorry.
Roll call again.
who was
Brad
the first?
Goodwin,
Okay, Tom,
Tom.
sorry.
Tom Barron,
Aye.
Will Rubenstein,
I'm here. Aye.
Liz Hartsgrove,
Aye.
Susan Britta.
Aye.
Thank you.
And yourself?
Any zoning board of appeals? I haven't seen anything there. Again, Kathy, I guess they're a little bit behind on sending some things out.
Sandy Clark is retiring.
Ah, sorry.
Who made
Inside
that
thoughts,
noise?
outside thoughts, inside thoughts, outside thoughts. Oh, what a shoot.
Yes, her last day is June 18th.
Okay, write that down.
Yeah, so
Wait,
yeah.
so can you say that one more time? Because you said it super fast.
Sorry, Sandy Clark, who is the ZBA admin person, is
Right.
retiring on
Okay, thanks.
June 18th.
Got it.
town hall will be closed on June 18th because of the new holiday, Juneteenth, which is on the 19th.
You unions, I tell you, my next life, I'm getting a union job, baby.
They
Oi.
take it out of you in a different way, Brad. So yeah, so we've advertised the position, and we'll probably have to do a little bit of covering. Dawn Marie Flett from our office is like our perfect go-to person. She can cover pretty much every department here, and has done so. It's not over the last many years. So hopefully it'll be a smooth transition, and then we'll hire someone and things will move along.
Okay. Committee updates. Any committee reports? I have, Tom, yes?
No, zero from me.
Oh, none? I have
Madam
one.
Chair, I have one, actually.
Oh, okay, Liz?
Yes, thank you. I just to give you guys an update, for those who did not attend the town meeting, the CPC actually, I believe all but one of their articles, which they postponed, passed. And one of those important ones is the boardwalk, which Kathy, I think you can explain better than I can. But it was a lot of money, and it was CPC funds, and it's a really good thing, and a lot of housing stuff. So, yep.
Yeah, that was
Thank you.
towards the Riverwalk Park and Boardwalk at the former drive-in site.
That was the coldest meeting I think I've had for Yarmouth in a long, ever. There we go.
Chilly.
I have one committee update on CEDC. Our former chair, Peter Smith, is now a member of the Board of Selectmen, and our new chair will be Ken Smith, no relation. We're moving forward with some temporary improvements at the drive-in site, where we're reallocating small amount of money for snow fencing that's required no matter what. So we've agreed to move some money around in the tourism fund on that. One important update, again, referring to town meeting. Mary Vilbon is a member of the CEDC, and she was unable to attend the town meeting, which was unfortunate because there was some misinformation with regard to the Route 6 Visitor Center. There is no tourism money from Yarmouth that goes to support that particular site. There had been some motions made on reducing the tourism fund, which you can't do on the floor of the town meeting anyway. It's really an appropriation vote. The money has already been authorized to some degree. Anyway, so Mary clarified some of the questions that had come up at town meeting. And it was unfortunate because Peter wasn't there either, but Karen Green did her best to try to get all the answers square. So that's the committee update from CEDC. Any board member items?
Just one. Gloria Smith, the mother of Peter Q. Smith, our newest selectman, was a co-planning board member of mine. So Peter has a warm spot in his heart for planning, or Mom is going to chase him down. So we should have a friend on the board of selectmen besides who we have there now. Gloria was a wonderful leader and a chairman for a couple of years as well.
Okay, great. Thank you, Brad.
I have two very quick questions, Madam Chair. Number one is, have you and Kathy and or Liz thought about the future of this board and how we're going to be meeting, given the changes that are afoot in the state of Massachusetts? So I'd like to just hear a little bit of an update on that. And the second is, I would just, as a friend and as someone who cares, like to understand the whereabouts of Mr. Vincent and make sure he's okay. Thank you, Madam Chair.
I think I can answer one of those questions. Kathy can help me. Our next meeting, the June 16th meeting, will be virtual, primarily because it's better that way, I think, for presentation purposes and gathering as many people as possible. I think it's the most effective way to have that meeting. Following that, our July 7th meeting, Kathy and I talked this afternoon about meeting in person. And if we're all okay with that, we would like to make that essentially a request to town hall because they have work to do in terms of the technology associated with regearing that room the way it used to be. Certain volunteers who used to help with the production of the meetings have retired from volunteering. And so it's fallen to some small number of staff to get that back up and running with cameras and the like. So we're going to shoot for July 7th. And if the town has the support staff ready to help us, we will go live together on June 7th. I think I've heard from everyone that that's where we want to be, right? Right?
Great.
We all
Thank you
want-
for that. I appreciate the heads up.
Okay. Good. So that would be, that should be a happy day. That would be good. And with regard to Chris, I don't know of the reason for his absence, but I do intend to call him.
In regard to scheduling, the drive-in site, the River Park, Kathy, what is the timing for getting the River Park underway, the actual construction?
Probably 18 months.
I thought it was going to follow very closely after the bridge was done.
Yeah, it was. Unfortunately, I'm still awaiting signature on the design and permitting contract for that. There was a lot of back and forth in that. We didn't have enough money. We had to go to CEDC to ask for some tourism revenue preservation funds. We had change in leadership, needed to bring people up to speed. So we are a little bit behind on that.
Speaking about the bridge, that looks like it's getting ready to be, well, the north side is pretty well, they put the new curb in, they've got pavement prepped. They've got to flip it over and do a curbing on the south side now, but that's moving along very nicely. And we'll finally get that bottleneck out of the middle of the highway.
Yeah, they were given permission to work through June 18th. They need to finish the sidewalk on the north side so that they can remove the pedestrian bridge that's on the south side. They will need to do some work in the fall to finish up some things along that, but hopefully they'll be done by the end of the year.
Yeah.
That project's been decades.
Another project that's starting is Higgins Crowell, shared pathway. They're only doing a first phase, which doesn't connect to anything. I think it's a travesty to piecemeal these projects to where they're done like postage stamps, a little bit here, and then you got to wait a year and a little bit then, and it would be nice to see more continuity when you get started to be able to move things expeditiously rather than herky jerky. But that's my own comment.
We'll be happy to accept a donation, Tom, so that we can finish up the shared.
Well, I have made a suggestion to
monetary contribution. I'm sorry.
I have made a suggestion for a small change order at the end of their phase one, which terminates at what now is just a dirt parking area for the walking trails going to Horse Pond area, and the idea is that there needs to be a formal parking area, and the suggestion I gave to DPW actually would be less than $1,000 for a small change order at that location, but that's another story. I don't have the $1,000 to offer.
Okay, thank you. Susan?
Kathy, has the town put any money into the Riverwalk project at all? Has it all been outside funding?
Well, we have a total of $3.7 million that has been allocated through CPA funds. Liz mentioned the 1.5 this
Right.
annual town
Nothing-
meeting, but we had a previous one. And then we have $1 million Seaport grant, and we have almost $1 million land water conservation fund grant.
Nothing from the town, right? Nothing in an appropriation from the town?
Oh, we reappropriated maybe like $65,000 from unused previous articles. We did that a couple of years ago. And then we have the tourism revenue preservation funds to help us with the event space. So no direct money, I think is what you're asking.
Right.
Yeah. That's it.
And Kathy, what's the status of the drive-in
Yep, that was
site
gonna,
for
yeah.
the summer?
yeah. The town put out a solicitation of interest for use of the drive-in site with some specific parameters, trying to balance more, shaking his head, balance more of the limitations of Article 97, the abutting neighbors, as well as the town's interest
Right.
in having some type of events there. We only got one proposal. It's for the end of August. There are a couple people who are interested in submitting, and we'll submit. The deadline was the 27th for first consideration, but will be accepted on a rolling basis thereafter. So we anticipate probably having at least one and possibly two others. We will be giving, or Kyle will be giving a brief update through a letter to the Board of Selectmen on Tuesday, just kind of letting them know the status of that. If there's not, it doesn't appear to be any conflicts between dates of people interested, so I think it can be done through the typical way of people submitting for an entertainment license and or alcohol license and or use of town-owned land property.
Okay, any other questions for Kath? Kath, any other staff updates that we haven't already briefed us on?
I don't think so. I think we're all set.
Kathy, do I see one hand raised at the bottom of my screen? Is that a hand raised?
I
one
don't think
has.
so.
Yeah,
Nothing.
no one has their hand raised. That's if
Okay.
you want to raise your hand, Susan.
I think at the beginning of the program, you said that there were two people that so I was wondering if that was the other one that was.
Nope, no hands raised there. We only have one person left. One person
we
sticking
go.
to the bitter end.
Okay. Okay, so our next meeting will be on June 16th. And I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second,
Roll call. Tom Barron,
Aye.
Will Rubenstein,
aye.
Susan Britta,
Aye.
Fred Goodwin,
Aye.
Liz Hartsgrove,
Aye.
Joanne Crowley, aye. Okay, thank you all. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Kathy.
Thank
See
you.
you at
Yeah, thanks,
4:30.
Kathy.
Thank you. And Joanne,
Bye.
I'll coordinate with you on signature of that letter to the.
Sure thing.
I'll leave it out in the bucket. Is that okay?
Sure,
Okay.
sure.
All right. Thank
I'll
you.
stop by tomorrow.